In a medical context, by proxy refers to acting or making decisions on behalf of another person. DARVO stands for Deny, Attack, and Reverse Victim and Offender. The perpetrator or offender may deny the behavior, attack the individual doing the confronting, and reverse the roles of victim and offender such that the perpetrator assumes the victim role and turns the true victim, or the whistleblower, into an alleged offender. DARVO by proxy refers to using other people or institutions to carry out the DARVO tactic of denying, attacking, and reversing victim and offender. This involves a perpetrator of abuse manipulating or enlisting individuals, such as family members, friends, or even formal institutions like universities or courts, to deny the abuse, discredit the victim, and reframe the perpetrator as the true victim. How DARVO by proxy works using third parties. The abuser doesn't directly confront the victim, but leverages others to spread misinformation or attack the victim's credibility. Institutional involvement. An institution or organization might participate in DARVO by proxy by protecting the abuser, dismissing the victim's claims, or even penalizing the victim. Examples: an abusive ex-partner might tell the children to insult or turn against the victim as a way to punish and manipulate. An institution such as a university or church might use DARVO to deny an abuser's actions and then attack the survivor, thereby avoiding consequences. During a legal battle, an attorney might employ DARVO strategies against a victim to discredit them in front of a judge. Why it's effective discrediting the victim. The perpetrator uses others to undermine the victim's truth and credibility, making it harder for others to believe them. Shifting blame. By involving others, the perpetrator can shift the focus away from their own actions, creating a situation where the victim appears to be the aggressor or the one causing problems. Evading accountability. By delegating the DARVO actions, the abuser creates layers of separation, making it more difficult to directly hold them accountable for their behavior. Urban Dictionary says, a lolcow is a person or group of people laughed at for actions that they take, despite not trying to be funny. They may try to take themselves seriously, but are often milked for laughs with or without their knowledge. Also, they are a person you get extensive laughs from, who doesn't know they're being made fun of. They can often think they are admired for what they are doing, but secretly are being laughed at constantly. It took me a while to realize, but this is almost always how drama content plays out on YouTube. Even when someone is clearly in the wrong and deserves to be held accountable, creators on the platform often exaggerate the narrative for easy engagement, turning the situation into a spectacle,
carefully constructed spectacle,
and making people forget that real human beings are involved whose lives can actually be ruined.
What happened next didn't feel like a response. It felt like a preemptive strike. She used dark imagery to connect us to a serious cause.
Most of the time, the person being targeted is already widely disliked, so the audience doesn't bother hearing their side. And if the person isn't great at defending themselves, that only makes it easier for a one-sided narrative to take hold. No one speaks up because they know the level of harassment they'd face, just like you and others have experienced, would be overwhelming. The H3 situation is the most recent example that comes to my mind. Still barely any major creators have spoken out, and the few who did offered either neutral or outright positive coverage of H3, despite how clearly in the wrong he was and still is.
And since Leafy's blowing up right now, you see his channel on every related, recommended in every video side page because of the algorithm of YouTube, and they're promoting this guy. His videos have just gotten like out of control. He's just out there bullying people, and it's just fucked up. And with the titles and the clickbait, I mean, we used to make fun of SoFlo and all these prank channels for like making YouTube a worse place, but right now these commentary channels are kind of the worst thing that's happened to YouTube, and for some reason everybody's giving them a pass. It's almost like a community made just for bullying.
Meanwhile, smaller channels that criticized him were relentlessly brigaded by his fans, and fans of Destiny as well, since H3 serves as a proxy to attack Hassan for them. But that's a whole other topic, with some creators even deleting their videos under pressure. It still shocks me how many creators I've seen blatantly lie or lend legitimacy to false narratives just to justify brigading and dogpiling, often over things that are easily disprovable or nowhere near as serious as they're made out to be. In one case, I saw a somewhat large YouTuber accuse another creator of being a cyberstalker, while actively platforming that creator's actual stalkers to make themselves look like the victim, something a bit of research would have easily debunked. It's never as black and white as people want it to be.
I'm sorry, that's a terrible thing to do to a person. Her video about me wasn't just sharing her experience. It was about turning me into a real villain and doing it through the lens that guaranteed public outrage.
Nick finally speaking up and telling his side after his so-called redemption arc, if that's even the right word for it, is a perfect example of that. First off, I just want to say thank you for saying all of this. It means a lot. I feel like what you said about lolcows heavily relates to this. It's basically an excuse not to empathize with someone's situation, or even care if they are attacked. I never thought that when I made that video about Illuminati, that people would understand what I was trying to say, because oftentimes most didn't. But that's because I was targeted into thinking that way. What you said about the neutral and positive commentary is so true. The worst part being that many larger creators manipulate kids and young adults into doing their dirty work. I only realize that now after so many confessing to me that they attacked me on behalf of their favorite creators. And by the time they're old enough to understand the damage they've done, it's often too late. I don't know what it will take, but I'm going to keep fighting for solutions, and hopefully, at the very least, we can get YouTube to attach watch time to comments so that people can easily spot brigades out in the open and shut it down. At Karena Official, thank you for the response and for the work you've done to highlight issues that have quietly plagued this platform for so long. Even now, you remain one of the few creators who not only recognize what's happening, but consistently call it out, even when it would be easier and more profitable to stay silent or play along. The way lolcow culture is used to dehumanize people is something I've been thinking about more over the past year, and the implications have only become clearer. It encourages audiences, more openly than typical drama content, to strip away empathy and treat harassment like entertainment, as if the person being humiliated is some fictional, irredeemable villain. I've regretfully fallen into that mindset before, especially during certain drama cycles.
I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week.
I remember joining in on the hate towards iDubbbz and his wife simply because it was trending. I didn't realize how much of that behavior was driven by commentary channels like Turkey Tom, Nicholas D. Oreo, SOG, and others, many of whom are closely connected behind the scenes. That content was then amplified by audiences addicted to outrage. It's disheartening how that drama is still being milked with the same tired narratives, despite him clearly moving on and doing well both online and offline. If anything, the criticism has only grown more obsessive, personal, and hateful. Your videos have genuinely been a turning point for me. They've made me reflect more deeply on how I approach commentary and the kind of energy I want to contribute to this platform. I've started reworking some of my projects with more intention, staying mindful of the narratives I'm helping to shape. It's easy to forget there's a real person on the other side of the screen when the algorithm rewards cruelty disguised as critique. Your content has been a much-needed reminder of that. Sometimes I worry I talk about lolcow culture too much, but I truly believe it needs to be addressed more openly. In many ways, it laid the groundwork for the kind of narrative manipulation and harassment cycles we see today, whether intentional or not. It thrives on stalking, dehumanization, and false objectivity under the guise of humor, documentation, or, in most cases, a moral crusade. I'm hoping to eventually release a video that confronts this culture more directly, even if it invites backlash from those who benefit from it or are too immersed to recognize the harm. I still think it's worth doing. Also, I think your idea of attaching watch time to comments is great. If YouTube were more proactive and responsive, especially in listening to creators, we wouldn't be dealing with so many of these issues. Even something as simple as a functioning support system, instead of tweeting your problems at an AI bot, would make a massive difference. Please keep doing what you're doing. I hope the care and honesty you bring to your content continues to inspire others the way it's inspired me.
DARVO. So let's talk about this. This acronym was developed through the work of someone named Dr. Jennifer Freed,
a psychology professor at the University of Oregon,
who is a psychologist and scholar who does really, I find it incredibly compelling research on perpetration and betrayal.
DARVO stands for Deny, Attack,
Reversing Victim and Offender.
There are different forms of abuse. There's physical, emotional, psychological. financial abuse. It can even take place through neglect.
Sometimes the most painful attacks don't even come straight from the abuser at all, but through other people, institutions, or even your own children. This is called abuse by proxy, and it's one of the most devastating forms of manipulation and coercive control.
But for those who have experienced it, it's terrible. The whole idea behind abuse by proxy is that an individual who is abusive will utilize two important components, okay? The first component is the system. Any system, any wide or broad system that can be used against someone else in an abusive manner is considered abuse by proxies.
Now, firstly, abuse refers to any behaviour, action, or pattern of conduct that can cause harm, injury, distress, or suffering to another individual. But abuse by proxy refers to a form of abuse in which someone manipulates or uses others to carry out abusive behaviour on their behalf.
I have been making art content here on YouTube for the past 6 years. For the majority of those 6 years and several years prior, I had been facing stalking, harassment, and threats from one very recognizable source. For many years, I had no idea who this person was. I had speculations, but they were pretty far off. And because of that, I had to endure that abuse. I have to say, for legal purposes, that everything in this video is alleged. I just encourage people to look at the evidence and form their own opinions. And while I didn't know who my stalker was before, now I know who my stalker is. My stalker is Shannon, better known as Creepshow Art, and what I believe to be her current husband, Anthony Parker, who is also my abusive ex-partner.
When it's used on a societal and institutional level, it's also used to silence or shame the opposition and to cause people to disbelieve the victim.
So to clarify, abuse by proxy is a power differential in which the abuser goes to the system or other people to control you.
Abuse by proxy is when the abuser doesn't attack you directly, but instead uses other people, systems, or institutions to continue to harm you.
The first step is you call out a manipulative or disrespectful behavior.
I've realized that I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel, and I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel.
She took moments between us and magnified them into something way bigger, weaving it in and out of an emotionally charged narrative that in the end felt designed to hurt me. The reason I'm bringing this up now is because my weight loss got 50 million views, and it sparked a lot of interest in who I am. Millions of people are coming in, they're watching old content, and this includes videos made about me and Stephanie. Back in 2019, she put out Why I'm Afraid of Nikocado. It went viral. It's got like 17 million views. I made a response to that years ago, but it only got 4. That means that the vast majority of people coming in aren't hearing my side. So this video will be a shortened recap of exactly what happened between me and Stephanie. And it will also be the truth. Because if you want to hold people accountable, both sides deserve to be heard.
You call out a manipulative or disrespectful behavior, or you flat out make an allegation of abuse.
You go up to a narcissistic person in your life and you let them know that they've done something wrong, and you directly address that with them.
One of the more important things that I want to talk about is my relationship with Anissa. I love Anissa. I love everything about her. I've only grown to love her more with time, and a lot of people online don't see it that way. In his cohort, who are listening to Anissa describe, like, essentially having a hard time online, seeing people mock and make fun of her dad with Alzheimer's.
They were laughing at my dad for getting sick on some of these forums. Like,
what did you think? What did you think about that? Because you shared it online?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's what people are going to do because they want to get a reaction out of you.
Yeah.
I don't think they probably even really believe the stuff that they're saying, but they know because it's extreme and, like, edgy that it will cause you mentally spiral like this. So that's why they do it. And you're telling them that it affects you. So guess what? They're going to keep doing it. This is how the internet works. It shouldn't be, but that's how it is.
I was at Stephanie's house. She asked me, why does Honey hate me? Putting me on the spot. And I told her, I'm like, because you blow her off. You don't communicate. You don't show any type of effort that you want to get to know her or meet her. You just want to use her. And that's what I told Stephanie at her house. What I say on camera, I say off camera. If I think someone's a bitch, I say someone's a bitch.
So the first step, you know this, they're going to deny it.
They're going to use gaslighting and minimization techniques like, it didn't happen, I didn't say that, I didn't do that.
And yet you texted me acting like nothing happened. Good luck on your flight. If you were able to write out this letter to me within 20 minutes of my video going live, it proves that your notifications are on. So you can keep tabs on everybody. When you watch this all go down and never said a peep to me, and it's clear to me, in my view, what your motives were. Given how this all played out, given all these lies you're putting out, given the fact that you're over there helping people.
They're going to use gaslighting and minimization techniques like, it didn't happen, I didn't say that, I didn't do that, or if it did happen, it really wasn't that bad.
The whole time, he is not saying that he is a perpetrator of bullying her. What he's saying is that other people are doing that. But he is doing it actively. In this video, he is bullying Anissa. And in other videos, he's literally bullied and made fun of her dad who has Alzheimer's. So this is something that he's very familiar with. But for some reason, in this moment, he refuses to take any ownership of the fact that he is part of the problem.
Like, that's what people are going to do because they want to get a reaction out of you. So that's why they do it. And you're telling them that it affects you.
He doesn't want to admit it, and it makes you wonder why. And we get a little window into that at the end of the clip.
This is how the internet works. It shouldn't be, but that's how it is.
He says in this moment, it shouldn't be. Why the fuck do you think he says it shouldn't be? Could that be because it's wrong and it's a mean, evil thing to do? To acknowledge that someone is suffering and deciding that you are going to attack them online continuously for the thing that they are, either insecure or struggling with?
I never did that. I never said that. That never happened. This is every antagonistic person ever, right? They always deny. It's always a convenient first play for them. It buys some time. They may think you don't have evidence. Hell, they'll even deny if you have evidence. And if you do have evidence, or they really did do it, picture, video, something else, but they know they did it, they won't comment on the evidence. They're going to go right to attack.
And there is no evidence for any of this except, I guess, body language experts coming on and being like, iDubbbz is being stoic here, therefore he's in hell.
Okay, hang on. Watch the change there. Watch the change there.
I don't know what the fuck that was. I have never gotten...
Look at Ian in this moment. Oh my God.
Like, he looks sad. He's depressed. He's so disgusted
working
by this.
on.
He looks disgusted with this.
He looks so uncomfortable. He's like, should I be here? He looks so uncomfortable. Look at this guy's body language. He doesn't want to be there.
Look how miserable he looks. Dude, he looks miserable. Dude, he looks like he wants to kill himself.
I mean, I kind of want to kill myself now. Okay, so they're not a fan of the resting bitch face. All right, well, I'm not going to smile all the time, fellas. And even when I smile, you guys still, contort it into he's so uncomfortable or he's smiling through the pain.
Burn.
Oh, he's so uncomfortable. He's smiling on his face.
What?
But inside his eyes, you can see his pain.
They won't comment on the evidence. They're going to go right to attack.
When the abuser or the offender attacks you or your credibility for confronting them, they will say things like, you're crazy, your memory doesn't work right, you're confrontational, you're negative, you're looking for a fight, you like drama, you were wearing a short skirt.
Victims might fear speaking up or speaking out of fear of others not believing them or fear of being punished further.
For those asking why it's being brought up, ever since Stephanie went into trending back in May, my pages have been spammed with Stephanie comments. For over 5 weeks, my live streams have been hijacked with, quote, Stephanie comments from all these new people. TikTokers have also been demanding I apologize, and my own followers have been asking that I address this since losing weight. In fact, many YouTubers made videos bringing this up all over again. But all of these people are only hearing her side, not mine. Nobody's going back to watch my original response I made to her 5 years ago, and people wouldn't take me seriously back then. I have no choice but to clear the air.
The next thing they do is they provoke and they instigate.
Another example could be how they might provoke a situation where the victim reacts defensively, and then they focus on that reaction as evidence of their victim's anger issues or their mental health problems, and others might start to believe that and start to behave differently towards the victim.
Now, the attack can involve the dismantling of the other person. Well, of course, I guess this is what I get from a paranoid person like you. Like, when are you going into therapy? Or maybe you need a new shrink since you are as crazy as ever.
In every case, the abuse still targets you, but the abuser hides behind someone else to deliver the blows.
I felt 100% justified in saying, if this guy played me, if I feel set up, if I feel in my heart, in my gut, that you were never really a friend to me, and until you are accused of having same behavioral traits as a and until you get a video made about you where half of it's linked to the and how you are somehow pinned against the entire then come talk to me about the ethics of sharing a text message.
Victims can become angry, nervous, depressed, anxious, hypervigilant, sometimes reactive, and sometimes these reactions can play into the abusers and their enablers' version of the victim being unstable.
Now, interestingly, after the attack, these folks, narcissistic folks, they release tension. They almost feel better, and after feeling they got the upper hand and they sort of dominated you, they will then actually come down a bit, and that's when they'll engage in the final part of this process. They reverse the victim and offender roles.
In our video yesterday, oh, I'm ready to move on, hee hee, I'm so happy, giggling. I'm thinking like, what the heck is so funny? Why is that funny and to giggle about all of a sudden? Something that's so traumatizing before, 48 hours, 72 hours later, we're laughing at.
And step 4 is the abuser or the offender reverses the roles of victim and offender. So this is when they play the victim and they make you be the bad guy. They're going to change history, rewrite history. So now it's your fault that they did something wrong.
They might sabotage something knowing that either the victim is depending on it, or maybe others are depending on the victim, and they have ruined that.
So many people will tell Anissa and I of just like, don't feed into the hate. And it's like, okay, we're gonna post some normal stuff. Anissa posts just me with a picture of my dog, and this is the type of commentary we get about it.
And here we have iDubbbz with the bull, folks. There's iDubbbz with the bull.
They accuse you of making it all up. They will accuse you of being cruel. They will even accuse you of being aggressive.
It's very strange being in my shoes right now, seeing that he's over there telling Chicken Nugget that I was aggressive. Obviously, it's damaging my business right now, my reputation.
They might spread rumors, gossip in order to create a particular image of their victim. They might accuse them of offenses they didn't commit or exaggerate something that maybe did happen.
Just constant accusations and comments about me being an abusive mother, me being a neglectful mother, me being a terrible mother. And if it's one thing that I'm confident in, if it could be nothing else, I will stand on the tops of the highest mountain and say it at the top of my lungs. I know I am a good mom. So I think it's important you guys remember that Shannon likes to take a sliver of truth so things seem credible and then sprinkle in all her lies.
They triangulate, you know, they're the victim, you're the persecutor, and they go and find somebody who can fit the role of the rescuer. And because of that, you lose.
A normal person would reach out, but a good friend, as you stated in your first post, remember his first response said, I don't want to get involved because Chicken Nugget and Nikocado are such good friends. They're my closest friends on YouTube. I'm your closest friend and you don't say a word. You watch me go down and sink into the ocean. And then on the side, you're giving your text messages to other people to make sure I look just as bad or worse. What the heck?
So this is the typical predictable pattern that abusers do when you confront them.
As you can see, there is a pattern of behavior. Anytime I experience even a modicum of success, he just has to destroy it. He has to attempt to crush my motivation. That seems like their main goal is to absolutely crush my motivation and get me to stop doing the things that I like and that I love. Any good thing that happens to me, they have to find out, hack my email, my Facebook, find out what's good in my life and try to ruin it. Relationships, YouTube, anything. My income, they just don't want me to succeed. And this seems to be a pattern. Just by the way, you know, all the lolcow posts, I was reading through them. This is a pattern.
So the objective is always to discredit the victim in order to discredit the allegation.
The attack could also happen in other ways. It may not just be a dismantling of you, or give you these sorts of threats, like, you better watch out. I know people. You better watch your back, or I could ruin your reputation, or you think you got this on me? Wait till you see what I've got on you.
Abuse by proxy is manipulation taken to the next level. Instead of confronting you directly, they recruit allies, manipulate outsiders, or weaponize the courts, schools, or workplaces, turning your own relationships and sometimes even whole systems into weapons against you, all while they sit back, appearing calm, reasonable, and innocent.
And then he says, remember, I was neutral in the situation. No, you weren't.
The next component that's significant in understanding this is people. They grab a hold of people to ensure, you know, whether that person is, you know, aware of it or not aware of it, they grab onto these other people to ensure that you don't gain the support that is going to make them look bad, that's going to get them in trouble, that's going to backfire. So they get to people before you do.
And I told you my gut feeling. It was very, very odd that the two people who knew the time of my flight, the only two people in the whole world besides my husband who knew the time of my flight, were those two. And that's when the video was posted. An hour before my flight, because I told them an hour earlier.
And they talk about you, and they try to, like, you know, bring them in on their perspective and their side, and they play on emotions. They're very manipulative.
Stephanie has this delicate dandelion flower image on the internet where she's unproblematic, and that's just not the case.
Why didn't you tell him, no, Nick, I don't want this, no? Why didn't you tell him no? After everything that's happened in the past, I told myself I would never, ever, ever feel like that again. I would never feel like that again. I just didn't want to feel like that ever again.
It's a way of outsourcing the abuse. It looks like the harm is coming from somebody else, when in reality, the abuser is pulling the strings behind the scenes.
But they may do things like threaten to sue you.
But I just, you know, I'm not one of those people like Zach Joy who gets caught in a lie, And what does he do? Oh, I have lawyers. You got a lawyer? Because I responded to what you said publicly? Zach, if that wasn't the most cop-out, guilty little runaway tail between your legs type of response I've ever seen, and you're purposely trying to deceive your viewers into thinking that I stole from you. I didn't steal from you. You put out a post publicly. I responded to the post publicly. And you want to go get a lawyer? Excuse me, you lied. That says so much about your character, because it's the best cop-out ever. Well, I can't say anything because my hands are tied because I have these special people taking care of the legalities of this. It's like, you lied, dude. You said I stole from you. You claimed that I stole from you and that I blatantly made you offended by stealing your idea. Well, we all know that that's not the truth. This just proves what I was saying about you being petty and going to the just extreme when it doesn't have to be. Like, that's gonna be a response. Hey guys, Nick stole from me. Hey guys, no I didn't. I'm getting a lawyer. You're literally proving my point.
They use law enforcement, legal advisors, the management at work, religious leaders to enforce their agenda for them, in some cases pathologizing their victims.
They may file false reports or drag you into endless legal battles, draining your energy and resources.
If the abuser maybe doesn't have access to their victim, they've maybe no means of interacting directly, so they enroll others to pass on or gather information or to stalk on their behalf, maybe just to spread gossip.
First comes the character assassination and discrediting, and then comes the false accusations.
Yep, they turn themselves into the victim.
And of course, she picked all the things that she did to me, so then I couldn't even come out if I wanted to, because then it would seem like I was copying her instead of her copying me.
They may turn friends or family against you, spreading lies and painting you as the crazy or unstable one.
And it can occur in different settings, such as within families, relationships, workplaces, institutions, or communities. It can even happen on social media.
Cyber harassment or cyberbullying. They may get other people to bully and harass you online under miscellaneous names, categories or names or forums, or under names that are not true, right? Under false usernames and passcodes. They may get other people to harass you that way online.
And my phone is blowing up with Chicken Nugget said this about you. Chicken Nugget said she's frightened of you. Chicken Nugget said that you in her own home. Chicken Nugget said that you were creepy and used it. And he's texting me as if he doesn't know.
But they may intentionally become friends with somebody that's your enemy so that they can get back at you, all right? So they definitely harass using the internet. It's so easy to hide. Why not use that as a tool? You know, it's sick.
I think we really saw it get out of control when Shannon entered the YouTube space and started gaining some popularity. And I think just the power went to her head. And I think she believed that she would never get caught for harassing me for so long. So she decided to start exerting that control in other places.
And let's face it, in the internet world we live in, nobody cares about what's true. They just read a defamatory post. And even if you do come behind it and address it and make it known it's untrue, the harm may be done.
She said she didn't know why I was taking photos of her house.
And then immediately he started looking around at the ceiling. I didn't have any cool light fixtures up there. Just don't know what else would be up there other than security cameras.
On social media, an abuser might use their own account, or they might use several anonymous accounts to target someone.
So I posted, my video just went a little viral, or my video went viral, I think is the first thing that I posted. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, no, it's more like mini viral. So I came in and made like a second tweet saying it went mini viral. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, Andrew started following me, and he said, buying 100,000 views for a few $100s isn't viral, Judd. Just FYI. Wouldn't it be crazy if they spent money to buy views for my channel so they could accuse me of spending money to buy views for my channel? I noticed something really interesting. Because remember, after Anthony was tweeting at me, accusing me of buying subscribers, only moments later did a sock puppet account accuse me of the same thing. Nobody else did, just Anthony and this sock puppet account. I just find it oddly suspicious that Anthony just decides out of the blue to go looking for me a week and a half within the first time one of my videos, quote unquote, blow up, because now I'm second guessing everything.
They might even encourage their followers to attack, harass, or threaten their target on their behalf. Sometimes all they have to do is maybe post something about their target, even if it's just an opinion that paints them in a poor light.
This next guy is the perfect example of what I'm describing. He is being very critical of me talking to a therapist. And by the way, that wasn't even a therapy session. I just happened to cry in that moment. And I was like, this might be able to communicate authenticity, so I'll include it.
And then Ian goes on a podcast with a therapist and gets extremely real with him, which is a profoundly stupid idea. Like eating with your mouth full on camera. He of all people should know better than to go on a therapist's podcast and vent about his very real problems on a public forum like that.
If you're gonna be a hater ass, Take it the full way. Take responsibility for having the opinion that crying online is pathetic and weak. Don't say I am the enlightened centrist and other people are going to make fun of you for that.
Because people will use that information against him.
People will use the information against me. Who's people? I'm pretty sure you're people. You're the one who's playing this fucking clip. You're the one who's making this video called the most toxic wife.
They might even encourage their followers to attack, harass, or threaten their target on their behalf. Sometimes all they have to do is maybe post something about their target, even if it's just an opinion that paints them in a poor light, or maybe share something the victim did or said, but doing it out of context.
Or at work, they may quietly sabotage your reputation so your colleagues doubt you.
You better watch out. I could bring you down in this industry just like that. I can make you look insane. I will ensure that everyone in this whole industry never does business with you again.
Those they had trusted previously, they might fear they're being gang-stalked.
And maybe people that you once thought you could trust start believing the abuser's version of events.
She
thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens and you're perpetuating it.
Friends fade away, families turn cold, colleagues doubt you. The systems that are supposed to protect you suddenly feel like they're working against you.
They provoke you to anger, they instigate, they go to other people, they talk about you, they go to the system, and they utilize their prestige and their power to get back at you, to harm you, to hurt you, to reduce you, to condescend. Whatever they need to do, they're going to do it. So they provoke and they instigate.
I mean, like, that's what people are going to do because they want to get a reaction out of you.
Yeah.
I don't think they probably even really believe the stuff that they're saying, but they know because it's extreme and like edgy that it will cause you mentally spiral like this. So that's why they do it.
He says back, harassing? No, I've only posted in what my accounts are, like what has my face on it. And I'm not angry, I was just curious. I figured maybe if I get more ridiculous, I'd get a response. If I get more ridiculous, I'd get a response. That's just pure entitlement right there, and it terrified me. It said that if I don't pay attention to this man in some way, shape, or form, give him sympathy, I don't even know what he wants, a reaction, anything, he will up the ante. And that's terrifying.
Now, I know a lot of this is very grotesque and obsessive. I would prefer if people didn't talk about me and my wife or other people in this way. I briefly want to talk about the concept of being a lol cow because these fucking losers, they love the concept of like labeling someone a lol cow and then like bullying them and watching their life spiral out of control. They won't, say as much. They'll just be like, yeah, we just do it for laughs. The whole thing's entertainment. It's just just innocent guys just having a laugh. Thankfully, Anissa and I are in a much safer and privileged position than many other people who are the targets of guys like this who want to bully them into submission.
And this is where they'll start to talk about things like witch hunts and everyone is out to get them and you or nobody else ever wanted them to succeed and everyone wants them to fail and people are always trying to bring them down and people always try to bring down people who are telling the truth and you had more power than me and you used that power to hurt me, to hurt my business.
It just was a gross abuse of power and an abuse of his platform and his voice.
I told the truth and all of you were uncomfortable. I knew that. None of you could hang with that.
First, I felt, again, like more shame and embarrassment because a lot of the people that he tagged are people that he knew that I would say, oh my God, I've watched her since high school, or oh, I love her, I did a collab with her. And these are people that I respected. I don't want to believe that they know the full story of what he's done.
I can't believe that people are coming for me like this. It has always felt like everyone around me has always had it out for me. Now I know it's true.
I also felt scared because now it felt like if I say something, it's not just going up against Nick, but look at all the friends he has. Who do I have? And I just felt like I couldn't say anything because it would be going up against all of these people.
I'm sorry, but there was no reason to bring up sexual assault into a discussion about ghosting me for a business meeting, lying about why you ghosted me for the business meeting, and then me being angry about it. PTSD, abuse, tendencies, definitions about manipulation, and that has nothing to do with anything that took place.
Lather, rinse, repeat. That's the Darvo in the workplace.
What purpose does this serve? Well, it's a way of evading responsibility and diverting the attention away from the facts and the accusations and their guilt while creating uncertainty in both the victim and the bystanders.
It's plain as day that he's part of the problem, but he fucking refuses, like a coward does, to take any responsibility for him being part of the problem. I don't think a lot of these commentary channels want to be held to a higher standard. I think they want to comment on the strategy of things, and they don't want to reveal too much of their own morals or principles.
They involve a third party or parties as a means of controlling, intimidating, or manipulating a victim.
Her video about me wasn't just sharing her experience. It was about turning me into a real villain and doing it through the lens that guaranteed public outrage.
And it also works for the abuser in the sense that when others are carrying out the abuse on their behalf, they feel validated, others agree with them. The victim obviously deserves it.
And I'm envisioning him though because this makes me happy and satisfied and feel like I got my revenge.
However, if things go badly, they might claim innocence. The most they did was maybe point out the victim's behaviour. It was others who were outraged and did all the work.
I don't know why these fucking don't accept the full troll mask. They're acting as if being sincere is impossible to do online. It's not impossible. It's difficult in the situation that Anissa and I are in, but we're making that choice intentionally. So you making this bold claim that we are like unaware what happens when Anissa talks about her dad who has Alzheimer's or me crying, like we're very aware that that is going to be viewed as gay and be made fun of by people like you.
Or in some cases, maybe the victim reacts in such a way that others believe that perhaps they're as bad as each other.
Darvo captures the reaction of perpetrators. Frankly, I believe it captures the reaction of any narcissistic person when you attempt to hold them accountable for their behavior. It's really a tool for understanding gaslighting, and it's a tool that you'll need when you try to hold a narcissistic person accountable for their behavior.
They can keep on recruiting others just to add fuel to the fire, keeping their victim in a state of distress. If you will, they make arrows and then give them to other people to fire at the victim on their behalf. So the victim feels outnumbered, they feel as if they're being mobbed, feels as if their support network has diminished, they're alone.
It gives them power without accountability. They want to hurt you. They want to damage your reputation, keep you trapped in conflict, and cut you off from all support. But they don't want it traced back to them so they can keep their hands clean.
If they can't get over on you, if they can't manipulate you, if they can't hurt you like they want, they're going to recruit other people.
And then I blocked Andrew somewhere. And so he was able to make another tweet at me, replying just to me this time. He says, also, why do you keep blocking me? Hey everyone, she's a blocker and a meanie. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Because I guess he thought that was funny.
Now in some cases, those they recruit may be every bit as toxic as the abuser is, and they enjoy it.
And Shannon, Anthony, if you're watching this, you have no idea what you guys have done to me. You think it's funny? You think it's something you can laugh about behind the scenes? You think it's retribution because I was a drug addict?
I, to this day, am being bombarded all over my social media, and it's sending me into therapy. I have an appointment in 4 days because I want medicine, because I am so upset with my life right now.
The bottom line is this gets really confusing for everyone.
Sometimes they might fear what might happen to them if they don't comply. But I think in many cases, they're just being lied to, used and manipulated.
They engineer situations to their benefit, to your downfall.
And Stephanie didn't just lean into the theatrics, she took it a step even further with editing.
He really thought that I wanted to spill my guts about Veronica all of a sudden.
Does this sound like common sense? That I'd suddenly just launch into spilling tea in whisper format at the end of a very quiet video? To sit there and start whispering like we were in some ASMR confessional booth? I mean, it doesn't even sound believable. She also claimed she had made it apparent how uncomfortable she really was.
In the video, there's no way Nick did not know that I was so uncomfortable for those 30 minutes.
Really?
He knew. There's no way he didn't know I was uncomfortable.
Would you have gathered she was experiencing utter distress? Yeah, not exactly broadcasting discomfort, is it?
They make sure that they go to the right people, the right system. They utilize their power and prestige, their money, their attractiveness to win over on you. And you're sitting there like, oh my God, I don't know how I got into this. I can't get out.
I was, and I am still afraid of him. And trust me, I get paranoid with some of these receipts, but he was a scary guy to be with. I felt trapped in a lot of instances, especially since I was vulnerable. Okay? I was still in a vulnerable position, so I was still very frightened.
It's sneaky, it's manipulative, and it's calculated.
And so it felt highly calculated. Even the thumbnail felt calculated. Look at what she's sitting in front of. Look at what it implies. The tears set on cue, holding herself in distress. A teary scene, by the way, that never even appeared in the actual video. Out of every possible place she could sit and film, she chose this spot. That wasn't random. That was a visual strategy meant to shape perception before a single word was ever spoken.
They know if they attacked you openly, people might catch on. Their mask would slip, the cracks in their nice guy or nice girl image would show, and they can't risk that. So they get ahead of it. They flip the script, they spread lies about you, that smear campaign or Darvo, so that when you react, you look like the difficult one.
Talking shit about Anissa and I, that was sort of under the premise that I owed them some sort of bonus money.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were also promised a bonus on ZC1 and we never got it. But because Michael was so nice, he didn't want to, like, make Ian feel uncomfortable and ask Ian and Nisa about it.
And I was always under the assumption that there was no bonus because even though he told me there was a bonus, he then disappeared for 6 months and I never saw him. So I was like, was there a bonus or was there not a bonus?
There was never a bonus. I was paying these people an hourly rate to do the job that I asked for them to do. And they got paid $32,000 for training an influencer to box, and she got paid $9,000 to film some of it.
How is it that we put on this great event, we raised $1.3 million for charity, and he promised us a bonus, and then right after the event, he just kind of pretend like he's too busy to check in with us.
Too busy to check in with you? I don't need to fucking check in with you. You're not my parents. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You weren't promised a bonus. If it was promised to you, if this imaginary bonus was promised to you, that should give you a lot of confidence to at least say, bonus? That's potentially a lot of money for you, you know, in this fictional scenario where you were promised a bonus. Surely it makes sense to at least inquire if it was promised to you, right? Because I've been consistently paying you day after day for all the work you were doing. So if I never missed a payment for you and your wife, and a bonus was promised at some point, then don't you think it would be pretty fucking obvious and apparent that you should text me, hey, what about that bonus? Of course, but there was no bonus, because you're fucking lying.
Again, abuse by proxy. They're using the helper in the triangle to go against you. And sometimes they do it without the other person knowing that they're being recruited. That is wicked.
It really captures gaslighting in a really solid way.
They encourage others to attack the victim or withdraw support resources. Or, if their victim cannot be attacked directly, the abuser might attack them indirectly by targeting something or someone important to them.
When I'm giving my actual authentic take about something, you don't need to put the blame on my wife. You don't need to say that she's controlling me. This is very off base. People who are in relationships, they communicate, they talk. This is just the reality of getting in a relationship and becoming more enmeshed. Like, it happens. You know, if we eventually have a kid together, like, it's very important that we're on the same page and that we communicate. I know it might feel like you have some outsider insight, but it is just very wrong.
Such as their friends, their family, social groups they belong to, their jobs, property, even their pets.
And meanwhile, I open up my emails and I see people wishing I would myself, people wishing I would be dead. People going after my family, people going after my husband.
At the face of it, they say something that is not directly threatening. They don't say, I'm going to come get you, but they learn to create a sense of menace and you don't feel safe.
Instrumental abuse goes and he finds an instrument to abuse you with. So if they can't directly abuse you because they're afraid of imprisonment, or they don't want to look bad, or they don't want you pressing charges, or they don't want to have any handprints of themselves on the situation, they will use something as an instrument. So they use different systems and different people in different relationships.
They came on this podcast, they used this bonus thing as some sort of like weird exchange of like, yeah, we can't go on the podcast and just talk blatant shit about our clients. So what we're instead going to do is pretend like we were stiffed by our clients after they promised us a windfall of cash. They conveniently never talked to either one of us about it.
You confronted about that? You asked them, or you didn't want to?
No, I just let it be.
Because I'm the same.
They conveniently don't have any text messages or emails or contracts that have anything to do with bonus money because that conversation didn't happen. They are lying to Ethan and his crew, and they're lying to the audience.
Darvo is also a way of imposing the mandate of silence. Abusers will groom their targets to be quiet and not speak up about the abuse. So if they tell you that you're crazy and you start to think that you're crazy, you're not going to speak up about the abuse because you're afraid everybody else is going to call you crazy.
In other words, the abuser inflicts harm or control over their victim indirectly by getting others to do it for them.
I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not to do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
There were a few legitimate, real little YouTube accounts commenting and being like, hey, is this creepshow art? But I would say 50% of the people saying creepshow art were definitely sock puppets. But anyway, of course, Shannon had to react to her sock puppet accounts accusing her on her Instagram story, apparently.
So they attack elsewhere, knowing it will hurt their victim.
So now, you're the person who was harmed, and you got harmed just because you were trying to get this person to be accountable.
So I decided to unblock Andrew and confront him. I essentially said something like, why are you harassing me? Why are you doing this to me? We loved each other once. Can we not respect that? Can we just respect each other and go our separate ways? I just want to be left alone, essentially.
You're now harmed. You're on the defensive because you are painted as the offender. So you went from being harmed to having to defend yourself from being the perpetrator yourself.
This kind of abuse feels like fighting an army.
Is exhausting, can even be frightening. And frankly, unless you're a fighter yourself, even if you initially put up the fight, they never get exhausted.
This is gonna ruin my reputation forever. Forever.
This stalking campaign has lasted the better part of a decade. And for the better part of the decade, he tried to make my life a living hell.
Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
They never get exhausted. So over time, the fight may go out of view.
Because abuse by proxy is infuriating. You know the abuser is lying, they're twisting reality, they're turning people against you, and no matter what you say or do, it can feel like you're the crazy one.
We've been together for nearly 10 years, and all of it has been online for the public to see, and there are still people accusing her of cheating, accusing me of being in an abusive relationship. None of this is true.
This has been my life. This has been the thing that has terrified me, that has kept me up at night.
I am being hurt literally all over the internet for weeks, thinking that I touched somebody, that I somebody. People at my little brother's school have been going after him for, like, this is intense. That is not a benefit to be painted or to be placed in the same behavioral category as a criminal.
And what you have done is sick and twisted and cruel. And I hope that you never have the chance to do that to anyone else ever again.
Like with all forms of long-term abuse, many victims experience anxiety, depression, feelings of isolation. They can question their own sense of self-worth, even their sanity, due to the ongoing manipulation and coercion.
Most importantly, the victim starts to self-doubt and then self-blame. What they found in these studies was that the stronger the Darvo reaction, the greater the self-blame of the victim.
And you're left feeling isolated, exhausted, and questioning yourself.
It furthers the victim's misery. It can isolate them from others. It can isolate them from potential sources of support.
And here's the hardest part. That's exactly how they want you to feel. Powerless, alone, doubting your own reality, hopeless.
It causes you to feel crazy. It causes you to feel stupid, guilty, responsible.
Stephanie, I regret trying to pull you into drama. I regret the way I vented. I regret being inconsiderate of your boundaries and disrespecting your space. I regret all of that. I am truly sorry. You didn't deserve it, and I own that. But I also hope you can own your part too. It wasn't accurate. It exaggerated the truth. And that exaggeration has had real consequences on my life.
So now you're thinking, was it even worth it? Now you've got a whole new world of problems, right? Now you have to deal with all the stuff that they're threatening to do when all you were trying to do is achieve some level of equitability. Then, now, reverse victim offender, they paint themselves as the victim and you as the offender.
You knew the emotional weight your video would carry. You knew how your delivery would all work together to shape how people saw me. You knew. Every day, somebody somewhere out in the world is saying I did things to you that I never did.
Now, all phases of this whole Darvo process are awful, but this is particularly awful. They will then shift to painting themselves as the victim and you as the attacker or the problem.
So what can you do? Number one, start to name it. The moment you recognize that this is abuse by proxy, you start taking your power back. You stop thinking it's your fault or that you're imagining it. And make sure to document everything. Keep records of texts and emails and incidents and legal interactions. Documentation is going to be your protection.
The PI and the attorney advised me that I needed to start taking screenshots of everything that I could and keeping track of what was happening to me.
And anchor yourself into your values. Stay true to who you are, your integrity, your morals, your character. And your actions and your behaviors will speak way louder than their lies ever could.
So I don't want people to, get it confused about, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. and obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end. I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human, I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty.
Since losing weight, I've had no choice but to enter a new chapter of my life. I've launched a new YouTube channel. I'm back on Patreon, posting daily again. I'm trying to pour my energy into growth, connecting with people. But to fully connect with people means I need to heal the wounds surrounding this public issue. And a part of healing is telling the truth, fully and without distortion. Because for years, this story has lived lopsided. And the only way that I can move on is by having the truth acknowledged.
Build safe allies. Find the people who can see the truth, who know your heart, who won't be easily manipulated. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people or even just your therapist, that connection can help anchor you. This is real and it's calculated, and it is not your fault. The abuser may be fooling others for now, but the truth has a way of surfacing. And the more you can name what's happening and stay anchored in your values, the less power their lies have over you.
Shannon, you need help. And this is me and everyone else asking you to go get help. Not just for yourself, but for the people that you have hurt.
So make sure that you find time to rest, self-regulate, and support. These are not luxuries. They're going to be necessary for you.
Sometimes your gut instincts are right, and sometimes your gut instincts are the best thing you have.
Your faves are problematic, and so are you. And in a way, that's a good thing, depending on how you handle it. When you are confronted with the fact that you are making a problematic decision or a statement, you need to face it, and you need to take accountability, and you need to use that mistake to move on and do better. You cannot run from it, because it will catch up to you, whether that be from public retribution or from your own stunted growth. It will catch up to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm running on fucking empty. Don't forget to stay out of trouble. See you guys later.